Hello, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'll talk about the features of Nemo and Marauder. If you enjoy security content and penetration testing, subscribe to the channel and hit like. O Nemo, which is running on a M5 stick C+. It's an extremely simple system, so it doesn't need an SD card. It doesn't need anything. It comes with pretty much everything set up. You simply run it, so it's very easy for beginners. The first feature here is the clock. Firstly, the TV big on. It sends infrared to all TVs. I choose the region and it sends, based on that area, all the infrared codes to turn off the TVs. The next attack is a Bluetooth attack. This Bluetooth attack involves spamming by showing several nearby devices. So on the victim's phone, you'll keep getting several push notifications alerting you that there's a nearby device. And they are random devices, so headphones will pop up, television, in short, various devices. And I have an attack aimed at each brand. So Apple Joyce is geared towards iOS, SwiftPerry is for Microsoft, Android for Android. This attack here, Sir Apple Crash, is what I showed in a recent short. Can it crash or restart Apple devices with the iOS up to 17.3? So if you have an Apple device, either leave your Bluetooth disabled or update it to a version later than 17.3. And this last one, it sends to all devices, so to all brands. It's like I'm running those 4 previous attacks at the same time. Here, to start an attack, all I have to do is click. I can select something specific that he wants to keep showing, or I can send everything. In Wi-Fi attacks, the Nemo is a bit limited in this Wi-Fi part. In the latest version, are they about to release a version today? He will already come with WPA3. But this version that I have, it still doesn't have WPA3. So basically, what I can do is scan the available Wi-Fi networks, and he can create, make, expand, and accede. So he starts these 3 functionalities. They will create several SSIDs to make it harder for anyone trying to connect and find the right SSID. And the last feature is the evil portal, which would be a Nemo portal. What's cool about this portal is that it's ready to go. So I don't need to create an index. I don't need to do anything. It's already set up. I just click here. And he will soon provide a portal to connect. Here is the network name. So it is Nemo Free Wi-Fi. Oops. If I connect to this network, it will immediately display an authentication portal very similar to Google's. Anyone who authenticates on this portal, it will capture the username and password and record them in memory. To access the username and password, I have to connect to the network. Access this Pico Samsung 2001. If I want to change the network name, I access /SSID. Remember that this is recorded in the memory. So if the device restarts, or if you turn it off, you lose all captured data. This is one of the reasons you should not log into public Wi-Fi. It's very unsafe. Here it has some QR codes, which are just to scan and direct to some sites. They are not attacks. And lastly, it has system settings. It has battery control, battery information, brightness control, adjust the clock. I can change the rotation, then let's inverted, the upside down ones. Here it has about, we'll talk about the authors and everything else. Restart and clear the settings. Here an example of the Nemo portal. It's a very simple portal, see? Already looks like a Google portal. And here, if I open the browser, and put the slash, it will show who authenticated. In this case, here nobody authenticated. It didn't show anyone on the list. Here it shows who authenticated. If I want to change my SSID, I can simply enter the SSID address. So whatever I type here will be the new network name. Well, this one is the card filter. It's running Marauder. The Marauder is really focused on Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So let's start with the Wi-Fi module. Here then in the Wi-Fi, it has the options of sniffers, attack and general. In the sniffers part, tudo schedule base semantic base sniffers are collections, okay? So basically it's going to collect data, and here I have various collection possibilities, starting with the probe request. The probe request is the request that the client sends to an access point. Searching networks. So every time you unlock your phone in the connection section, and it starts to search for the available networks, it's sending out a probe. So this first option here, I'm going to do a probe sniffer. It'll capture all the probes. What's interesting here? It captures the MAC of those requesting, and I can identify clients in the area. The second type of packet is the beacon. A beacon, it's the opposite. So it would be the packet that the access point that the AP sends to the client. In this packet, it mentions the network names. In GIS, I can also capture the MAC address of the access point, and I can capture the SSIDs. Simply capturing this information might not seem very useful or even an attack at first. It's the beginning, for example, of a man-in-the-middle attack. I need to capture the beacon, right? The beacon is sent in a fixed time interval. So normally the API sends it every 100 milliseconds. Later we'll understand a bit more about the attacks. Here it would be the DALF. So DALF is for the authentication disconnection packets. This option here, it will capture the authentication handshake for WPA 1, 2 and 3. Here would be a packet monitor. This option will detect if there is a Puma goat on the network. And the second to last, it'll scan the access points, and here it'll capture everything cleanly. Several targeted attacks. I first need to scan and select the AB for later carrying out the attack. Well, let's move on to the attack parts. Here in the attack part, then I have the beacon span list, which creates a list of SSID. Would be it would essentially be the same attack that we have no demo. This is list based. So I set up a list that I can put in a file, or I can scan and then I do the attack. An important piece of information in the Marauders: pretty much everything I'm going to do needs to be preset. So it requires an SD, and I have to put the files on the SD with the information I'd like, or generate from a scanner. So the first one is he will make a list of and the big, right? Here it will perform random beaconing. So for that, I don't need a list, it can do it. This Rick roll is a famous American prank. So it's an American troll, which essentially consists of playing a Ricky Roll video. And this Ricky Roll beacon will keep creating SSIDs with the song's letter, which is this American troll. Here start the most interesting attacks. So the probe requests the fluid. It will keep sending various probe packets, which are requests to know what SSIDs are available. When you send a flood of this, you could overload the network. So this is a pretty interesting attack. We also have here the evil portals. The UV portal is similar to the Nemo portal, but like I said, this one is much more configurable. So for it to work, I need to create a file on the SD. I will show at the end of this video, already with the network name, with the SSID, and I need to create an index.html as well. I'll also show that at the end of the video, a website where you can find some examples of portals that you can use, like this index. That ultimate attack, then I will go. This attack can be both targeted and general. Okay. The access point clone, I will clone the existing access points. This is the alpha that I mentioned would already be directed. And it's interesting that when we talk about security, one thing is related to another. For example, if we start an attack of the alpha, directed, for example, and after this attack of the alpha, I go to the sniffers part and capture. From authentication, I will manage, if I do this, here in this part, I'll be able to capture the PMKD. With the PMKD, okay, it will be hashed, it will be encrypted. But if it's a simple password, I can hit it up on the internet. I'm going to do an offline brute force, and since I captured, I don't need to be present on the network. I can go home, do a brute force, or stinchmal, and try to crack this password. If I get the PM key, I can monitor any packet. With Packet Monitor, I can decrypt any network packet and move fast. And as a result, I will have access to any information trafficked on that network. It is going back a bit to the attacks. What can we do to minimize some types of attacks a bit? So for example, the probe request, I can limit in most access points the maximum number of probes per second. So this is a practice that nobody uses, but it's a practice which helps a lot. The alpha also works. Not every access point allows it, but some already let you set a limit to DALF requests too. Here's an attack, right? Well, here in the general section, so these are the settings. So I can generate SSID, I can clear SSID, I can clear IP, I can select the HTML. If I have more than one HTML on the SD, I can select it here to show to the evil portal here. I can also select the access points. So when I'm about to carry out a targeted attack, I first need to make these selections and then proceed with the targeted attack. Then we have the Bluetooth attack. I can sniff too. I have the Bluetooth sniffer that will sniff all Bluetooth communications. And I can also detect skimmers, card skimmers. And the Bluetooth attacks are very similar to Nemo. So I have Apple. It has Swift Pair, which is for Microsoft. Here, it's already targeted towards Samsung, so it's not all Androids, okay? He separated a little, so he's a bit more efficient for Samsung. And here for Google devices, which would be Android in general, and ZAS. And finally, I have spam for everyone, which then attacks any device. Well, that would be it. I'll show the SD card now. The Marauder and how we put the files in there. Information that is very important. All the files, all the captures that I make. When we use the sniffer, it's recorded inside the SD. So you need to have an SD to be using these sniffer features. And it records in PSAP format. The backup can be opened in Airshark. Later I will have a video on the channel just to talk about Wireshark, which is a very comprehensive tool that allows you to analyze the package well. Okay, shall we go? Let's head over now to for the SD card part. Now an example of the evil portal from Marauder. Here I put an example of Apple, but as we saw, we can use any index. And this one I can customize. Unlike Nemo, which is static, I would have to recompile again to customize this one. Just put an index file, and I can do the customization. Username and password typed here. It records on the USB inside the log file. So, for the evil portal from Marauder to work, we need to have this file here, which would be the app.config. In this file, basically, there will be the name of the network. I can put any name and it will work. And the other file needed for evil portal to work is the index.html. Here in this GitHub, I'll be putting it in the descriptions. This GitHub has many portal examples for you to use. So it has an Amazon portal, an Apple portal, a Facebook portal, an Instagram portal, anyway, several others. And you can be developing your own portal as well. Moving on, I have several backup files. Each one is from one of the sniffer captures I did. And every time you run view portal, it creates a log file. So the moment you open it here, it shows you who authenticated, the user and the passwords. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.